Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the Printing United Expo Power Hour with Team Printing United. And that means that Ashley Roberts, the content director of Printing Impressions, is here as my very chatty and informative co-host. Hello, Ashley's here, everybody.
Woohoo! Here again.
Ashley's here.
One knows. Yes.
Yes. So, Ashley, I sent you a text this morning. We have over 4,500 views on our live stream so far, and that is only growing. And so I just want to thank you so much and your team for really making these power hours special. And we will be sending you the files to share as you wish so that we can continue informing people about what is going on at the show. I know we have a lot of guests. It's apparel, promo, branded merchandise. Branded merch Friday. But yes, branded merch was oh, you're rocking a different one today.
Yes,
okay.
I have so many people. Wait a minute. Before we get into this, also, I have to say, we have really, as like part of the Alliance, embraced branded merch. I went from having like one piece a couple years ago, and then we were all pushing for more. And now we have so many different types, styles for everyone's, interests, colors, everything. It's amazing. I can wear something different like every day of the month because I have so much branded merch now, and I love it.
The Printing United Alliance Fall Collection.
Yes, exactly. I actually have a really thick one, like super thick.
Yeah.
That's for like the coldest winter days.
I was just speaking to Tori from Bella and Canvas about this exactly to match. Don't just say we offer a t-shirt. Like if it's a sporting goods store, have tank tops in the summer, have fleeces in the winter, like let them know that you can really customize their customers' experience. It doesn't just have to be a t-shirt that I love this store, it could really become part of their lives in a more meaningful way. So I know we have guests, as I said, but one of your jobs is to highlight any show updates, any show floor highlights, trends to watch, any new information about the show. I know that you spend your days and part of your nights putting all this information together for everybody. So why don't you discuss that and how Printing Impressions is covering this and why they should sign up for your newsletter?
Oh, amazing. Great plug here. So yes. So Printing Impressions, for anyone who is not familiar, we do serve the commercial printing space. However, we've really diversified, in the last, I'd say since I've been here, the last 10 years or more, we've really been, trying to cover all of the segments because commercial printers really are expanding into packaging, of course, wide format, branded merchandise, promo products, apparel. So we do cover all of that in our daily coverage and our monthly coverage in the magazine. In our upcoming issue, we have a whole article about packaging, and a few traditional, what is a traditional commercial printer now, but a traditional commercial printer, a few of them who have moved into the packaging space and are finding a lot of success with that and expanding that segment even more. So folding cartons, labels, and packaging. So yeah, I mean, we for the expo specifically, we were doing tons of video coverage, articles leading up to the show. So every week you're going to see new articles focused on different aspects of the show. This week we did, Denise Gustavson had written this article kind of looking at advocacy and government affairs and then the sustainability side of things, talking to some of our subject matter experts and how that plays into the show and different trends that you'll be able to explore on the show floor in those areas. So yeah, keep an eye on the website, keep an eye on the newsletter, videos, podcasts. We have podcasts with some key players across all the brands, but also, of course, on Printing Impressions. And yeah, it's your place to go for all the information that you need about the expo.
Yeah, and if you're not signed up, if you're not signed up for the newsletter, you can go to piworld.com and do that. Highly recommend. I read it every day, even though I still can't see any images.
Oh, we have to get that figured out for you.
I know. It's my computer, apparently. Okay. We have guests. I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to try to be quiet today.
Oh my gosh. No, please chime in. So our first guest today is my colleague, Cassie Green. She's the content director of Apparelist, one of our newest brands. So, we've been covering the apparel space, but it a few years ago got its own dedicated brand. It is a super engaged audience, which I'm sure Cassie will talk about, and a really cool segment of the printing industry. Just like they're just so hip and cool. So is Cassie. So you're gonna get to meet Cassie. And she, if you watch her weekly videos, she has shirts that hang behind her her setup, and she changes them out. So it's really cool. It's kind of like an Easter egg. You can see what shirt she has hanging up every week. So Cassie, come on in. There you go.
I'm just like,
oh, I'm in on the skull. Just telling you.
Yep.
Did you know this is a color changing screen print right here? So if I bring it out in the sun, the skull gets like pinks and greens and blues. It is so cool.
Wait, that is so. Do you remember in the 90s, like when when I was a kid in the 90s, we had the color change of the UV color changing shirts. They were like all the rage.
Yes.
So this is bringing it back. I love that.
Yes.
Super cool. So, Cassie, yes, we know you are super hip. You're super cool. We love everything that you do for Apparelist. So tell us maybe a little bit about yourself and how you got into this segment.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I would use super hip and cool, but thank you. Yes. So I have a journalism degree, but I did not anticipate landing in the printing industry.
Nobody does, Cassie.
Right. Didn't we all sort of accidentally stumble into
100%.
this industry? And that's fine. I love it because I will never leave. So all of you are stuck with me now. But I have been covering the printing industry for, I think just a shade under 15 years at this point. I have been covering the printing industry in one matter or another. I've covered the wide format and signage side. I've covered the engraving and like UV printing side. I have now mostly in apparel decorating. So yeah, I can't even begin to describe this journey because this is like a community of people who we work with, but I'm sure all of you can attest to that you all have become my friends. And so this is now like a personal and professional journey. And it's just very cool to be part of the printing industry at large, but also like the apparel decorating side, which is a very cool, very unique, interesting side of the industry working with fabric. It's very cool. So
actually, I'm already busting in because I just want to make a comment.
Please.
I went to ThreadX one time, and it was the most amazing event I'd ever been to. Everybody was, to your point, was in it to win it. There were some people there that had facilities. There were some people there that were working out of their garage. Yes. But everybody was completely engaged in and you're right. It wasn't just about how do I make a business out of it. It was more about the fact that these types of materials are really emotionally connected to some of those people out there, whether it's you're wearing something for your company or for your team or for your school. I mean, or you put a pet or a kid on it, although I have to say I've seen I don't know if you've seen those blankets okay, I don't want to open my door and see an 8-foot baby there. I'm just saying, that's not, I think I would be a little freaked out. Yeah, no, people are making them with their kids on it. But it's to your point, it's a really, really engaged community, and they want to participate, they want to learn, and they want to network with each other.
Yeah. And, I'm also chiming in, Cassie, sorry, but just some insider scoop into what we as journalists here at the Alliance talk about. One of the things we talk about is things that work for the apparelist community might not work for others, because the apparelist community, they are eager. They want the information. So can you talk about that, Cassie? Like kind of how, just talk about the community, the apparelist community.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say that's probably an applicable statement actually across the printing community, right? Very engaged community, but apparel decorators, they just bring this sort of like tenacious hunger to it. That's very like, I don't want to use the word aggressive. That's why I picked tenacious, because it's like they go after the education and the information and the events with like this hunger and like this ferocity of like, I am going to get every little drop of benefit out of anything they engage with possible. They will squeeze it until it is absolutely dry. So I find it interesting and I could be at any industry event. It could be Printing United Expo. It could be like our apparel decoration summit. It could be any like open house, or later I'm going to a makers event hosted by an embroidery company. I am never surprised and also very excited by how this community shows up engaged. They ask a lot of questions. We field a lot of phone calls. We are constantly being peppered with, how can I do this? Or who can help me with this? Or I want this. There are a lot of groups of decorators and supplier partners that have come together in the industry to make it better. And it's no longer about the competition. I think, way back in the day, it was always like, close guarded of information. Like, I don't want my competition to find out my secrets. That is not the case anymore. Everybody is an open book. Everybody wants to help everyone else. There's tons of mentorship in this industry with apparel decorators specifically. It's unreal. I go to an event and it's just the amount of, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. The amount of questions you get asked and that I even ask all of these people is just like this constant flow of energy. It's just high energy. So it's a really, really fun community. And also it helps that most of us also know each other's kids. We know their pets, like you were saying, Deb. Like, I mean, yes, people have blankets and stuff with their kids' faces, but we also just like get to know them on a more personal level. So it's pretty cool.
Which is great. And I think, all events are great for that, but the expo in particular is a really great place to make those connections. And I know for Apparelist, you have the Apparel Zone. So maybe talk about that. What is the Apparel Zone? What can people expect when they get to the expo and go there?
Thanks for lobbing me a softball, because obviously I'm biased. I love the Apparel Zone. This is a lot of effort, blood, sweat, and tears over the last few years that our team has put into making happen. So the Apparel Zone is sort of like this community, this area within the show floor where it's not just apparel decorators. All are welcome. If you are curious about apparel decorating, if you are a commercial printer who's just added it, if you're an in-plant printer and you want to come see what apparel decorating is about, it is not designed to be a sales pitch area of the show floor. It is designed to be education specific. So each, sponsor partner of the Apparel Zone is giving hands-on training sessions. So rather than selling the equipment, they're saying, hey, look, here is how you have to design the art. Here are the print settings you have to run. Here's what works, which specific techniques, which work with which fabrics, right? Because that matters as well, right? And so it is truly education in the most hands-on sense. And then a huge part of that is the Apparelist Live Theater, where we have on like a 45-minute rolling schedule, there will be sessions presented on all of the different technologies and blanks. So we have sessions on direct-to-film printing. There will be sessions on again, how I mentioned only certain fabrics work with certain technologies. We will have sessions on supply chain because we all know how much of a pain in the tuchus that has been this year. And so it's pretty cool. And then each year, another part of this zone is we ask a local apparel decorator to design sort of like a theme for the sponsors. So if the sponsors are printing show merch, because we all want to bring home something to remember this amazing event, right? And so the sponsors will often print like shirts or hats or bags or whatever with a design. And this year is Wear the Future, which plays into the Expo's bigger print possibilities theme, because we always need to be thinking, how do we build our business for the better? What's coming next? How do I be better prepared for all of these things? And so we have some really cool neon alien-esque Area 51 designs, Deborah. Yeah.
Deb, that's perfect for you.
I mean, between the skull and the space stuff, I might just live in there.
You might as well come by and get yourself some cool alien merch.
Oh, you don't have to tell me twice. I just had this conversation with Tori from Bella Canvas about different, we always talk about substrates for presses, but we never talk about, like, can this mug actually go through the process I need to do with it? And, is there a certain coating that has to go on it and things of that nature? And, also, I'm glad that you brought up the supply chain because apparel has been hit very bad. With that. And you can see if you're buying clothing these days, depending upon where it's coming from. And here's something that shouldn't shock everybody. And most of it does not come from here. It comes from other places. And that is causing a problem. So how does your community come together in these times without essentially price fixing, because you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying anybody's doing that, but there's got to be some sort of common ground in these discussions about what are we doing about that we have to keep adding $5 to our t-shirts.
I know. That is such a great question. And I think it's something that is taking some time to solve, just because it's not one of those challenges that can be solved within days, right? And so a big way that the industry and the apparel side has come together is mostly through partnerships. So you see a lot of suppliers and decorators working together to source inventory. So say, all of a sudden a certain batch of blanks just becomes available, has gone up astronomically. We see a lot of decorators either reaching out to each other, reaching out to their suppliers and their vendors to be like, hey, look, how can you help me? Where can we source these products from that might be a little easier to get or not cost so much to get? Same with like equipment, right? Because that absolutely matters as well. A lot of the equipment is not necessarily manufactured here in the States or even nearshored. So it's where can I find all of these resources that I need? And that's where you see the community really coming together, because you will see other people step up and say, oh, hey, look, you can find, I found this set of blanks here. Or you see a supplier step up and say, hey, look, we do have facilities that are more onshore and nearshore that we can help you with. And so we've really seen a huge explosion in partnerships and the community working together. Obviously, let's deal with the reality here. Pricing is continuing to be a big factor, and you do have to deal with that, and that's fine. Really what the community has started to understand is like, okay, yes, I don't want to use the word simple, but a simple address of the challenge is, yes, we can raise prices, but are there other ways where we can absorb those costs? Can we automate some of our workflow systems? Can we maximize, an employee differently? Maybe their skills aren't being utilized to the best of their ability on our production floor. So let's, reassign some workflow stuff with them. So we see a lot of that also, addressing the supply chain challenge. And then in reality, we are seeing a lot of people moving facilities to near and onshore, right? And so there are talks and discussions and actual real movement of facilities being re-engaged, in a more nearshore capacity to sort of help deal with those inventory challenges. So it's been a collection of things, and it's going to continue.
Yes, but
right?
If you don't have a community, then you're on your own on this.
Right.
And that is, you do not want to be on your own with this at all, because we really all are in this together. And at the end of the day, look, I have my own problems with the printing industry refusing to raise prices. It's like, I don't go to complain to the person who owns the gas station and say, excuse me, how can you automate something in your convenience store so my gas is 3 cents cheaper? Like, it doesn't work that way. But when it comes to printing, because people think it's an additional thing. Do I really need that t-shirt? You need that milk? Do you really need that item? I would say yes, you do. If you want to, service your customers and your clients the way they need. But the last thing I'm going to ask is, in the Apparel Zone could be a great place for people to come together and say, okay, what are you ordering 5 times a year? What are you ordering 5 times a year? How can we all come together and place one bulk order and break it up between people so that you don't have to keep waiting 6 months for another boat to come over?
Yeah, I think we're definitely seeing that. It's already happening. Look, we've run some press releases recently about groups like that who are working together. I just recently had a discussion with a couple different decorators, kind of spread throughout the country. Actually, we've got like East Coast, West Coast, and kind of Central America kind of all coming together and saying, how can we, buy together and things like that. So I think you will see some of that continue to grow. Again, it really just comes down to it changes fast. And so we as the industry have to change. I think to your point is we can't just sit there and just raise prices and expect that to fix everything. It won't. But we can continue to be flexible, continue to explore different opportunities to address those challenges. What might have worked a month ago may not be working now, may not be working in December. So it's just this continuous learning path that we're on. But I do think we're seeing a lot of that sort of change happening. And an Apparel Zone's a great place to have those conversations, for sure.
I was just going to bring it back to the community. It's good to have the community and have your peers to talk to and like have that open line of communication with others. I know we do have another guest coming on. Cassie, I want you to stay on with us. And part of the reason for that is because our colleague, Allie Bruce, could not be here today. But she works very closely with you. And I know she kind of started in a perilous space. But she runs our newest brand, which is Promo Impression. She's the content director there. So I don't know. Can you tell us 30 seconds. What is Promo Impressions before we introduce our next guest?
Sure. So yes, all Allie. So if anybody does want to learn more, you can reach out to her, abruce@napco.com. But Promo Impressions, it specifically addresses the promo suppliers in the industry. These are the people who are working in the promo side of the industry, but doing a lot of the printing, right? So this community, if you think apparel community is engaged, this community is super engaged. I mean, talk about people who are hungry for information because they've got the blanks, they're dealing with the promo orders, and they are dealing with the printing. So this is a true convergence in a real sense, which we're seeing a lot of in the industry. And I have a hunch our next guest is going to talk a lot more about this. Yeah. But they're like a very awesome segment of the print and promo industries converging together. So yes, Promo Impressions, brand new. But that's kind of like the quick down and dirty description.
Perfect. Okay. So our next guest that we are going to introduce and add to the fray here is Andy Cohen of ASI. So Andy, please join us.
Hey guys.
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing very well. We're super excited to have you here. I'd love for you to introduce yourself, especially because ASI this year has a bigger presence at the show. I know we have the show within a show. So can you talk about just introduce yourself?
Sure. So thank you guys for having me. First of all, it was great to sort of be backstage and hear all of the conversations that you guys were having, and certainly hearing Cassie talk about the Apparel Zone. I was like, wow, okay, that's very similar to what we're talking about here from what ASI is doing at the show. So works really well together. Thank you for that, Cassie. I appreciate the setup. It was great. So what we're going to be doing is we have something that we're debuting at Printing United Expo this year, and it is the ASI Pavilion at Printing United Expo. So what we're doing is kind of what you guys were just talking about. We're in real life bringing the convergence of print and promo together on a trade show floor. So we have 60 to 70 suppliers of promotional products that are within our pavilion. So it's like, as Ashley just said, sort of show within a show type concept. And they're promo suppliers that are apparel related, hard goods related, pretty much everything. So if you're a printer and you're looking to break into the promotional product space, space because, you have clients that are already buying t-shirts and cups and mugs and pens and banners and all these things that are sold in the promotional space. Now you can do that. And so here's a place for you to go and learn from a whole host of suppliers that have all this, have all these materials and all these products and can help you, win those clients' business. So obviously ASI has a booth within there as well. We have lots of activities planned within this pavilion for the few days that we're there. So we are super excited and, really appreciate the partnership with you guys.
My turn. Thank you so much.
Turn.
It's great to meet you. I
You
love
too.
the promo space, the branded merchandise space. My question is about storefronts and printers. Not as many printers as you would think have storefronts, even after the pandemic. And I want to know what your position is or your thoughts are on if you don't have a storefront, do you even entertain entering the promo space, or is there an opportunity maybe behind the scenes that as a print customer I'm not aware of because I shop by looking at what I can see I can get?
Sure. So it's a good question, and certainly many of even traditional promotional product sellers don't have storefronts or showrooms that they can invite their clients to. So many do, but a lot don't, and so it's almost perfect for that audience in many respects because you don't need a storefront to be able to be selling promotional products to clients. You can source at trade shows. You can source products at trade shows. You could source products digitally on a platform like ESP Plus that ASI has. So there's plenty of ways to source and also deal with suppliers to be able to fulfill orders. So certainly today it's a different world. There used to be many more storefronts and showrooms amongst the traditional promotional products distributors than there are today because they're realizing, Deb, to the point of your question, that you can do it. You really can do it without a storefront. So a lot of what we're doing in the ASI Pavilion through the education that we're going to be providing is showing printers how to do this, how to navigate the sourcing of promotional products, how to deal with suppliers. As Cassie was talking about, the sort of intersection between promo and print really happens with suppliers. So knowing how they interact and how they're expecting of purchase orders, all of that is important for new companies in the promotional products industry to understand.
I just want to clarify. I just want to make a clarification just to make sure we're on the same page. When I said storefront, I meant like on their website where I could go and see. I would assume that in this day that selling promotional items and having a place on your website as a printer where I could see them and I could pick the colors I want and understand the sizes they come in would be table stakes almost. So that's my question to you, because it's one thing to want to get into the promotional space or the branded merchandise space. It's another if your sales strategy is high. Does anybody need a fleece t-shirt, other than sending an email and saying, look at our, winter's coming. Look at our fall's, the season's about to change. Look at our catalog for upcoming, items and things like that. So that I want you to talk to the printers about that step that a lot of them have not taken yet and why this is yet another reason they should be investigating.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't follow the nature of the question.
Once you said, walking into the store, I was like, oh, okay.
Well, that exists too.
It does happen.
Yeah. It does. Yeah.
It definitely does. So for sure, it is easier for a printer's clients to peruse what's available with a website or store that they can search. We at ASI, we provide our members with websites and the ability to have stores. So any no problem. Any new member to ASI has the capability to also, very easily stand up a website or a store for a client that they can be fulfilling orders in a matter of moments. The nice thing about these websites is they're searchable from our product database. So it's the breadth of all promotional products available, and you can certainly choose certain ones that you'd like to highlight as it's, your website as a printer, but you have the availability of the breadth to search for your customers to search through as many, products as they can possibly imagine.
And
So it's a good tool.
whether the decorators doing it themselves or working with a partner doesn't matter to the person on the website. They're just getting
Right.
what they want, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry, Ashley. I just wanted to make that point because
No.
I've been having a lot of hurdles with the online storefronts, and honestly, it's become a why question for me, and this is just another reason why they should look into it. But I love that you provide that. If I were navigating the show, I would ask about that. How do I get that technology on my website and start selling these items? Thank you.
And it's super easy, and we can stand it up in a matter of moments, basically. So, Deb, I would invite you to come to the ASI booth when you're at Printing United Expo, because you'll get all sorts of demos that you would like to see on how these websites and stores work.
Try to keep me out, Andy. Go ahead.
Well, we were also serving espresso drinks in the booth at various points throughout the show. So if you need a little pick me up, well, that is the place to go.
You apparel people are speaking my love language today with coffee and skulls.
Yes. So actually, kind of on that note, something, Cassie, you mentioned is we were talking about the engaged community of the apparel decorator space, but then how the promo space is even more engaged. So, Andy, can you talk about that, the community, and then, why was it important for ASI to have this big presence at the expo?
So, first on the community, for sure, the promo community in general is super engaged. We have at ASI, we have 3 trade shows throughout the year, as well as 9 hosted buyer events and a couple other conferences. So we bring the community together a lot, and we get to see the interactions, not just between suppliers and distributors. That's natural because they're a customer partnership relationship, but also even like Cassie was talking about, like companies that you would think are normally competitors that are actually friendly and working to build up the industry in ways that helps everybody. It's a unique thing to see, and certainly the promo industry has that for sure. As far as why we wanted to expand our presence at Printing United Expo this year, it's kind of a natural convergence. The print and promo communities and the markets in general. A lot of our members are already in the print sector, as Cassie was talking about with promotional product suppliers. That's a part of our membership and client base as well, obviously. And they are printers to begin with, and their customers are distributors who sell to clients that are looking to print logos and messages onto products, whether it be apparel or hard goods. So there's a natural convergence there. And, like I said about lifting up the whole industry, it's really kind of the 2 industries that are converging in so many ways. We didn't want to sit on the sidelines of that. We wanted to help facilitate some of those conversations, and we're expecting to do that in multiple ways. In just a few weeks at the show, we're having a whole host of education activities within the pavilion, in addition to during the education sessions of Printing United Expo in general. Just teaching people about the opportunity that is the promotional products market, in case they haven't been aware of it, or they've had a client that has said to them, I get all my print materials from you, but I also get my T-shirts from this other person, or a pullover like this from somebody else. Well, you can be a one-stop shop, and we're going to be talking about how you can really do that and Deb, to your point, how you can add these products searchable on your websites and make it easy for your clients to buy everything all in one place. So it's a unique opportunity, a unique convergence, and we're happy to help move it all forward.
Yeah. I have a question. Something that, and maybe for quickly for both you and Cassie. So, something we've been talking about all week is this idea of convergence, commercial printers, or other, wide format printers. Implants, Cassie, you mentioned implants, of course, getting into the apparel space to serve universities, implants serving their university community. So, that's definitely a trend on the commercial side. Cassie, are people coming to you or coming to the apparel community from other segments searching for that? I know you said that people are welcome into the Apparel Zone if they're not in the apparel decorating community already. Is that something you're seeing more often now, that people are kind of coming and saying like, hey, maybe this is an area I want to get into?
Without a doubt. I mean, it is happening at lightning speed right now, mostly just because there are a lot of apparel decorating options that you can implement into your workflow that aren't super difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to downplay that, because you do absolutely still have to learn certain things, and there are subtle nuances. But it's really, there are a lot of technologies that make it a very natural fit to a current printing business. And even like promo, we see a lot of promo distributors now thinking about, okay, well, I could bring this one technology in-house, but still work with a contract decorator for these other orders. So we are seeing it happen faster and faster and more. I would say than ever before. It's absolutely crazy how fast people are entering the apparel space right now.
Yeah, and I'm going to sound silly here because I don't know what the big apparel presses where you can do lots of shirts at one time, like that's maybe not feasible for everybody to get into. But Deb and I were talking earlier, like a little screen press, if you want to do some like one-off orders for a customer that you're already doing work with, like that's an option, and maybe you're not going to compete with the biggest apparel decorating house, but you can offer some of that work. So Andy, is that something that you're seeing as well? People from other, printers from other segments kind of moving into the promo space now?
Yeah, no doubt. It's definitely happening. Like we've been talking about, there's such a natural crossover that I think more and more printers, and even the other way, traditional promo is realizing that there's an opportunity to build business by crossing over, and so they're increasingly doing it in many ways. We're seeing that in our even in our the growing segments of our membership is people that are interested in both, and not just a promo distributor, or not just a printer, or a commercial or screen printer or otherwise. They're seeing that opportunity to expand and to be that more important one-stop shop to their clients. It would be they'd be passing up too big of an opportunity if they didn't do it. Yeah, we're absolutely seeing that for sure.
Yeah.
And I just have to say, you want to, it has to be one of the easiest things to promote that you can do. Go to a community event, have your little George Foreman grill, make T-shirts for people, stand behind a logo of your printing company, have little, hey, what do you do? That's a perfect place for a business card draw for something at the end of the day. And then you have the business cards of all your local community. And as my friend Dan Johansson says, they might not be buying it from you, but they're buying it from somewhere. So why don't they buy it from you?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Andy and Cassie, so much for joining us. I know we have another 2 more guests coming on quickly. I'm sure Amanda and Carly are already dropping Apparel Zone and ASI Pavilion information in the chat, but if not, please.
It's in there.
do that. Oh, perfect. Okay, good. Because I was gonna say I don't have.
Don't sleep on Cassie. She's on it.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you both so much. I really appreciate you taking the time, and can't wait to see you both in Vegas.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
So I'm learning so much about apparel today, I have to say.
I know. This is feels like the week of branded merchandise too.
I know. I feel like one of those engaged question asking people, but you know me, I always have to ask my question.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's great. And they're, like I said, Cassie's hip and cool. And so's Andy. But yeah, it's a really engaged, amazing community. And I think I mentioned on one of the other days, one of the years I didn't even get over to that side of the event. So last year I did a little bit. Hopefully this year I get into it a little more. And especially the ASI Pavilion, I'm very excited to explore that this year. Okay. All right. So we're going to welcome on our next guest, the returning champion, Denise Gustavson, who is the Vice President of Editorial and Content Strategy at Printing United Alliance. And she is the one that manages all the education at the Expo and the Printing United Expo guide. So hello. Oh, and look at you wearing it.
Look at you, branded merchandise to the show.
I had to. It's the Apparel Day.
Yeah, that's true.
That is, you're up there with James Tressler, who tried to join from the airplane.
Well, you know what? And it's on brand because, Denise, you are the editorial, top of the food chain for all of the brands. So not just, printing impressions or wide format impressions. Apparelist is included in there as well, of course, and promo impressions. So maybe let's start there. I mean, we launched both of those brands pretty recently, right?
Within the last 5 years, we've launched both of these brands. So it has been a very quick uphill, sprint, honestly. We've gone from 0 to 100 miles an hour so quickly. Cassie has done a phenomenal job on the Apparelist and really talking to the community. And Allie, I mean, we are a little over a year of promo impressions, and that brand is doing phenomenally well as well. So I have no complaints whatsoever on those on those two brands.
Yeah, and one of the things that I mentioned, but you know very well, the we talk about audiences a lot with the different communities that we're speaking to, and they are very different communities. So we have to think about the Apparelist content and promo impressions content differently. So how, from kind of that, I keep wanting to call you editorial director.
It's okay.
Editorial. From that stance, how do you kind of keep all of the communities while we try to break down the silos, still have, keep their distinct voice and what they want?
I mean, when you're talking from a brand perspective, all of our brands have a certain persona.
Right.
And it's based on some general characteristics. You hate to do that, but honestly, it does make sense because when you're writing, you want to know, who am I writing this for? Who is the person that's going to be reading this later on? So I always kid that the apparel community is the California surfer dude.
But they are. They 100% are.
Yeah.
You hate to do stereotypes, but at the same time, when I think apparel, I think of somebody in cutoffs, short sleeves, flip-flops, with their clamshell, doing stuff out of the back of, their truck. And when they're not busy, they're surfing. It's
Volkswagen minivan thing.
Yeah, exactly. But then, if you go to other areas, if you go to the packaging or the commercial, they're a little bit more buttoned up, just because of how their community is and who they're dealing with, in some honesty. Promo is also a little bit looser as well, a little bit, surfer dude-ish, I would say, to a certain degree. And then you have wide format that's kind of in the middle. They're kind of like jeans and a polo. That's kind of how I kind of picture it in a way. Because some of those folks are getting down and dirty. They are, wrapping cars. They're doing that kind of stuff. But sometimes they're also dealing with Dior. They're dealing with some of the high-end clients because they're doing some phenomenal displays. Yeah. So part of it is you have to make sure that you're meeting your customer where they're at too, in some ways. Right. But yeah, so it's just fun to do it that way.
And it's evolving. I know, sorry, I know we're here to talk about education, but I figured since we're at the end of the week and we've had so many different perspectives all week. So one of the things is with these different communities, you want the audience to kind of see themselves in the content that we're creating. But it's also evolving. So, you know, when I joined the industry 10 years ago, you look back at pictures from the Inkjet Summit 10 years ago, everybody's in suits, ties, dresses, like very like corporate professional. It's much more relaxed now. I mean, like just in the past decade. So it's hard. It's kind of hard to like keep, you know, on top of that.
And the industry's changing. I've said it before. We're in the middle of a silver tsunami. There's a lot of people retiring. They're heading out, and those were the old guard in some ways. So for those folks that, as they're retiring, as they're moving out, the companies are changing because they're going to younger folks. So now the new companies are, you know, they're in their 40s. They might be in their 50s. It's a different vibe compared to somebody that's maybe a boomer or even, you know, older in some ways, you know, owning a company. So it definitely has a different vibe when you're looking at the owners of some of these companies.
Right. So definitely a good place to get the vibe of things is in the zones. So we've got the Apparel Zone, we've got ASI Pavilion. And I know that so for Apparel Zone, there's a ton of education happening in the Apparel Zone.
Yes, they have basically sessions like every hour on the hour, more or less.
Okay.
I mean, they have a ton of curated sessions. Cassie actually runs those sessions that are on the show floor. Her and Brandy are the ones that take point for the show floor. But there's some stuff also up in the paid education.
Yeah.
And I actually have a couple that I wanted to highlight, in both in the apparel and the promo side, because I think it really touches on some of the biggest trends that we're seeing. One of them is DTF. Okay. So, you know, DTF Color Principles, Jim Raffle and Shelby Sapswank. I can never pronounce her last name. Shelby is one of our all-stars as well. So they're going to be presenting on the first day at 4:00, talking about like the principles, like, you know, the down and dirty principles that you need to know to really do a really good DTF. Because you can't just, you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then the one on the second day, so the 24th, we have Aaron Montgomery, who's also, I believe, an all-star. If he's not, he is very closely associated with that group. He has From File to Finished Print, what actually matters in DTF production. So again, on the apparel side, very specific, because that's a huge, huge growing market. We've seen that over the last few years. Cassie's actually going to do 2 sessions as well in the paid session. So she's going to be talking about scaling your print-on-demand business. So again, for those on-demand orders, so those one-off, those two-off, like how do you scale? You know, you might be a smaller shop. How do you scale that correctly? And then margins over machines, the business decisions that actually make you money.
Ooh,
really huge thing for the apparel. It's a great title too. I love her title.
Yeah, that's great.
And then Andy Paparazzi and Onamika Dar are going to be back for the State of the Apparel Decoration Industry. So the SOTA survey is back for 3rd or 4th year in a row. I think we've been running this. So they're going to have the latest results of that survey to kind of really give everybody an idea of what's happening in the apparel side of things. And then ASI has 4 sessions across. So 2 on the first day, 2 on the second day. It's hard to believe that market is a $28 billion opportunity. Billion with a B. Yeah. So it's a huge, huge market opportunity. So it's a good thing for those that are looking to get into it, whether producing it or whether just selling it. Really good place to take a look and see what those opportunities are. You know, what lessons you can learn from printers selling promo, how to add revenue to a business, and then what are the emerging categories? What are those, like, what's the really cool stuff that people are looking for now that we can brand?
Right. And so Josh also, by the way, is in the background. He chimed in. So Aaron is an all-star.
Thank you.
So anyone who goes to any of Aaron's sessions or sees Aaron on the show floor, he's an all-star. He can chat with you about that. And then also mention that Jim is a G7 Plus expert. And Shelby
he is.
May be as well.
And he's actually going to be doing another session on G7 Plus as well. So it's kind of like a primer, and he's going to be involved with the G7 exchange as well. So, I mean, they are involved with us a couple of different levels because he's a trainer with us too.
And he's been around for a long time. Was closely aligned with SGIA and always helped all of the wide format printers. So yeah, they're great people to catch a session from, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're always giving Josh the last 5 minutes. But Denise, thank you so much for joining us again. Super appreciate it. Appreciate all your contributions this week and participation. And I love the shirt. It's great. I should have worn mine. I do have one. I don't know why I didn't even think of it. I just wore
You're slacking, Ashley.
No. Dang it. But thank you, Denise. Super appreciate you.
You're very welcome. I'll try not. I won't put a demerit on that. So we're good.
Oh, excellent. You've been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Really appreciate it.
Thanks again, Deb. Thanks, Ash.
Bye. So last 5 minutes, last day of the Power Hour, bringing back Josh, EVP of Expositions at the Alliance. Oh, and you are?
Hey, everybody.
I didn't get the memo.
It's branded merch day.
Oh,
what are you talking about?
Woo!
White branded merch, but I didn't wear the white
It's on the
branded.
keys. It's on everything.
Oh my God. I'm very impressed, sir. I must say. All you need is something on your watch band, and
I know. We could probably do that.
We need to.
We might know somebody.
We need to redo Apparelist Day. Now that I know the expectations, we need to redo it so that I can. Because I think I have a hat too. I have everything.
Yeah,
well,
the hats are great. It's actually I'm loving everything you guys were just talking about too. It's so on point. Now I do have to say there are some pretty large decorators out there that get into the hundreds of millions of dollars every year. They may catch a polo or a tie every now and then, but totally get the observation from the show floor. I think that's pretty good.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. So Josh, I know we only have a few minutes. Let's do the quick, tell people what they need to know, why they should, big picture. Why should people be at the expo, and maybe touch on the power of the Apparel Expo and the fact that we have ASI this year as with the pavilion.
I think that's a huge new thing with opportunity because, the whole thing about our show is cross-segmental opportunity, right? It's convergence. It's finding out what you can sell, what you can make and sell, what you can partner with, and who can sell your stuff. So I think in that vein alone, there's tons for everybody there. The ASI thing is actually starting to build, upstream and downstream connections at the show. I think that's fascinating myself too, just from an industry perspective, because a lot of those exhibitors in the ASI area can actually sell and then turn around and shop in the same place, right? So I actually love that dynamic of the ASI pavilion. A promotional product supplier is what the Alliance would call a printer, right? And then the distributors go on both sides. Right. Because they're there to make relationships, and they can, also find people to buy directly from, literally in the ASI area. So it's absolutely fascinating to see the different levels of, upstream as the industry goes. And that's what we want happening. We are, again, like we've said multiple times, we're one industry. It's going to take all of us to get us recognized at the highest levels from a legislative standpoint. So we all need to be together, and this is the opportunity to do it. In fact, speaking of being together, if you haven't seen, we just announced that we're going to have a pretty big shindig on night one that everybody's invited to. So definitely mark your calendars for that. You can go to dinner and come late, or you can come early and go to dinner. It doesn't matter. But we'll have, food and drink that is completely free at Resorts World at Zook and IU. Where the print industry is going to take over Resorts World on night one. So definitely make that a pit stop in coming. And then everything else, you guys have done such a great job covering. It's really, I'm coming in and just repeating everything. It's the education. It's the obvious that it's the equipment, right? It's obviously that people want to see the iron move and the cool stuff and do all the window shopping. But I can't emphasize enough the value of the connections that you'll make.
Yeah. And, we've talked a lot today about the Apparel Zone and the ASI Pavilion, but, how about the other segments? Like what, Are there show features or,
Oh yeah.
anything for the other communities that are going to be coming to Expo?
From the wide format to the digital embellishment, obviously our PDAA zone will be back, and GSA is helping us out with that, so that'll be killer as well. But the things we're doing with like Tactful, right? So the tours for the digital embellishments, we've got a killer setup in the North Hall that will showcase some household names. That's all I can give away. It's some really cool features. It was a hit last year with the different content. It was like Marvel characters last year. This year it's playing cards, and I'll leave it at that. But it's what it's doing is
somebody ruined it for you on the broadcast the other day. I'm not going to repeat it. And I was like, I think that's secret information you're sharing. And he's like, oh, and then he just went.
But the point of it is to show all the cool stuff that's out there, right? It's a physical example of what these suppliers are out there providing. I think, I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but I think packaging is as much promo as a promo item. How your product is presented on a shelf is just as important as to what it helps you do. We all know that feeling if your favorite brand and you get it and you open it and the experience the package has, it's that same visceral experience. So whether it's a killer car wrap or a box on a shelf or an item that you keep in your pocket or a hat you wear, it's all printed, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we have to wrap it up, or Aubrey's gonna quick draw McGraw and throw us all off of here pretty soon. But I want to make a suggestion for next year.
All right.
I would like to see a technology pavilion where people can go in there and understand how everything works together, what you need in order, the things that do the API calls, how you can you want to get into the promo business. Perhaps we should talk about online storefronts first. And
that's a whole nother show, because that's a big giant white space in our market, because there's not a lot right now that can make those connections.
There's nothing. You have to go to each booth and ask the same questions. And I get it. The software companies don't like to be around each other because they all do a lot of the same things. I know. I get it. But
there's opportunity sitting there.
Guess
for
what?
One of them.
So does the internet. The internet puts you all next to each other, whether you want to be or not. And I don't know if any of you have ever gone to Hunkler Innovation Days, but that is literally the theme. I'm in this booth and I'm leaning over and talking to the manufacturer in the next booth. And that is helping make a decision. Yes. So I know that they don't like to be in the same places, but perhaps we should start looking at customer convenience of the attendees. Just saying. Okay.
Like a sourcing section, and I've been on about that recently. So I love where your head's at.
And this is the one thing that look, I've had 50, 60 conversations this week, and it all boils down to, what can your device connect to? Mm-hmm. And if you're not purchasing with that in mind and the vision of what you want your new press that you've just invested a couple $1 million in to potentially connect to in 2 years,
that's a hard
maybe
road
you
to
need
hoe.
a different press. I'm just like, at this point now, it used to be, what is the software? But now it's, to me, it's like to the presses being so good, and we can move on to the next conversation. The next conversation of all of this is not what goes faster, what can I make more margins on? It's
what talks to
how
what?
Can I expand my world with no code, just by plugging things in. So I think that would be very helpful. Okay. Printing United Alliance, Printing United Expo, Power Hours. I really loved them. I appreciate so much that your entire team came together and jumped on from all the different segments. I may or may not have a special announcement about Printing United Preview Week. Let's just say that we have a plethora of people who could not get on this broadcast and have since, during the week after watching it, been like, maybe I should have answered, filled out that form a little quicker. So we're talking with the Alliance to see what we could do about that. But until then, thank you guys so much. See you September 23rd through 25th in Las Vegas. Print Long, Print Expo, Printing United Expo Long, and prosper.